We should never forget about the actions taken by mostly Democrat governors that led directly to the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans, like disgraced former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, like governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, like Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, like Pennsylvania governor, Tom Wolf. The former disgraced governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, has agreed to testify in front of the Oversight Committee in Congress about his response as governor of New York to COVID-19, specifically the decision to send COVID-positive patients into nursing homes, which statistically had a significantly higher rate of contact to death ratio than any other population in the country. In total, there were 12 states that decided it would be a fantastic policy to discharge COVID-positive patients from hospitals into nursing homes. I said that there were only 12 states. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that means that 38 states did not do that. So clearly, there was a choice. Now, I had firsthand experience of exactly how this worked out because my mother at the time was in a nursing home. Now, sadly, she passed away about a year and 3.5 months ago. As far as we know, it wasn't directly related to COVID-19 or anything like that. But the point is that I remember going to go see my mom at the nursing home, which I physically couldn't do. I had to literally stand outside of her window and we'd have to be on the phone talking to each other. But I remember that they were discharging in Minnesota because Governor Walz followed this advice to discharge these COVID positive patients into nursing homes, that every time that would happen, it would spread through the entire nursing home like wildfire, and so many of the residents would die. And you got to remember that this was in the beginning of the pandemic. This is when the testing was terrible. Like, I remember that it was sometimes taking up to 7 days to get a test back, which is like, well, it's been around now for 7 days. So don't you think that now everyone has had contact? And the answer was very clear and obvious. Well, duh. And that's what happened. That's why it was such a bad policy. And my whole point is that you have to hold people accountable. We have to hold our elected officials and bureaucrats that were put in charge of doing certain things. Like, we have to hold them responsible for the actions and decisions that they made, even if their intentions were good. And there are some questions about if their intentions were good. And in some cases, there should probably be some criminal charges. But now that a lot of these things are changing, we cannot forget, we have to continue to remind people that these choices that were made by elected officials and bureaucrats, that they should be held accountable for those choices.